Frank.
Thank you. I'm actually serving as warm-up for Tibor, so in the interest of my alma mater, USC, I thought we'd play a little game. So every time I mention square foot, everybody needs to take a drink, okay? With that, the South Bay region, geographically bound by the 105 freeway to the north and the 605 freeway to the east. The market is comprised of major cities such as Torrance, Carson, Compton, Long Beach, and the ever-important ports of LA and Long Beach. As far as the numbers for, next slide please, for the South Bay market, 220 million square feet of base industrial product, vacancy rate of 5% in 2011. 2011 showed 1.1 million square feet of absorption. There was just over 10 million square feet of gross activity led by 9 million square feet of leasing activity. As far as under construction, we currently, at the end of 2011, had over 800,000 square feet under construction. All of this product was spec. The largest of these was a 272,000 square foot building being built in Torrance by Prologis. For lease rates, I've broken these down into Class A and Class B rates. Typically, lease rates are standardized to be 52 to 55 cents for the South Bay, but given the spread that you see on there, I felt it was important to show the disparity. In the South Bay, Class A rents are at 62 cents net, and Class B rents are at 40 cents net. For sales pricing, slightly down here, but $128 a square foot for Class A and $95 for Class B. Just reviewing 2011 as a whole. Next slide, please. Thanks. Ever important to the South region is port volume and transportation. The ports were flat last year, with 1% growth at Long Beach and 3% loss at 1% in Los Angeles and 3% loss at Long Beach. Vacancy was down. In addition to vacancy being down, there were fewer subleases on the market as users took back or used the space that they had on the market. Sales pricing did fall slightly. This was partially due to lack of rent growth and the effect that it had on investors' pricing in the market. Rents as a whole were relatively flat. They stabilized mostly for Class A product. B rates did improve slightly. That was mostly thanks to limited availability in Class A product and a strong fourth quarter for B industrial buildings. Activity as a whole was up significantly with over 1 million square feet of absorption. To summarize 2011, it's pretty easy to say speculative construction is back into the market and B buildings are leasing. And B buildings leasing is a good thing for the South Bay, considering that most of the industrial base is B buildings. As far as transactions, on the lease side here, Watson Land Company leased a 224,000 square foot building to Osborne Hesse for 64 cents net. The key to this transaction, this building was leased prior to the completion of construction. Also in Carson, Prologis completed a 10-year lease of a 315,000 square foot building, highly functional, older building with a large yard, a lot of doors, for 59 cents net, and that was an expansion. On the sales side, investors ruled the larger transactions in the South Bay for 2011. The first was a net leased investment that was purchased by CenterPoint. This property is 363,000 feet, leased to Cedars-Sinai through 2019. They paid $121 a foot, and the in-place cap upon acquisition was just over 6%. Additionally, there was a business park that was sold by TA Associates in Torrance as well. There's a 9-building complex of 318,000 square feet, $120 a foot, 98% leased, and the cap rate on this project was just under 6%. Looking forward to 2012, I think we're going to see continuing demand for functional B buildings. I think that's only going to get better. I also think that we're going to see absorption of Class A product that will push rates up slightly for all product levels, and will also force tenants to move down the food chain to B buildings. I also think the ports in 2012 are going to see increased activity back to levels that we saw in 2010, thanks to retailers replenishing their low inventories from last year. On the sales side, I think larger sales are going to continue in 2012 to be driven by investors. I think cap rates will decrease as investors aggressively look for a home in the South Bay. As far as owner users are concerned, I think they're going to have a tough time competing with all-cash investors as the increased rents, especially in B product, allow them to push pricing thresholds. And finally, buyers who have cash set aside on the smaller side that need financing or don't need financing, if people have the cash, are going to be in the driver's seat because financing will continue to remain difficult. Thank you.